Hey ladies, it's Sydney from Sitting Pretty here, reinforcing the fundamentals of hair care. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Sydney. I am a hairstylist that specializes in what I like to call hair restoration. And through my hair restoration program and techniques, I use heat styling and extension to help my clients boost their hair health and their length retention. On YouTube, and also through the various offerings on my website and other social media channels, I aim to share as much of my 12 years of experience and the knowledge I've gained through this industry with women worldwide to help ease and clarify a lot of the misconceptions surrounding textured hair care. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider hitting the subscribe button. And not just hitting the subscribe button, but also turning on your post notifications so that you'll actually be alerted of when I post. I also want to invite you to click the link in the description box to get your hands on the free version of my 5 keys for success in your healthy hair journey guide. And that guide will help you all address some of the mental blockages that could be keeping you from reaching your hair goals. If you feel like you've tried everything, best stylists, best products, listen to every YouTuber, and you're still unable to make, or you feel like you're not making any progress in your hair goals, in your hair journey, it's possible that you have some mental barriers that you need to push through when it comes to understanding the foundations and the fundamentals of hair care. And so I hope you all address that in that guide. Also, even if you don't necessarily want the guide, but you want to stay in touch with me, make sure that you still get the guide through the email newsletter, because that is how you enroll in my email newsletter. Okay, so that you can remain in touch with me regardless of, God forbid anything was to happen to any of my social media channels. So without further ado, let's get started. Also, I want to welcome those of you all who have been supporting my platform. It's always nice to see returning subscribers. And also, I would love to hear from you all in the comments. Just say hi so we can engage down below. So in this video, I have one of my clients that I've had probably since like 2019. Y'all know I did relocate back to Vegas. So as soon as I, put up my pop-ups for November, prior to me relocating, she booked me, and I've seen her a few times since I've been back. So her hair is beautiful, as you all can see. She maintains her hair well at home, and she also gets her hair done professionally when she can. We actually just did a sew-in on her, which I will include on the screen, for her birthday, just to add some volume and to give her hair a break. So she switches her hair up. She'll wear it curly. She just started incorporating weaving into her regimen, and she'll also do her silk presses, and I think sometimes she does braids and flexi rods. So she keeps it very versatile. I will say I feel like her hair is kind of remained around the same length since I began doing it, and I think that comes from the fact she's not super enthusiastic about trimming her ends, and there are times when I feel that she could benefit from removing more of the split ends, but I am never one to force myself upon my clients. Some people come in and they're like, do what you need to do. And then other people come in and they're not comfortable with it. Either they're fine with the length, or, maybe they don't trust it yet. It's just different things. And, as a hairstylist, I just respect my clients. So, I've had a few clients like this in the past, or, in my 12 years of offering hair services. But, I just work with them and meet them where they are in their hair journey. I just find that things go better that way. So yeah, that's a little bit of backstory on her hair. In today's video, we just did, I just did a blowout on her hair and then finished it off with some curls. As you all saw in the beginning of the video, it came out super pretty. And I think you all are going to enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed, you know, doing this style for her and kind of going back over it and watching it as I've edited it, because I think I filmed this video in like January or December, and it's now mid-March. So, you know, sometimes I don't really, you might forget about stuff. But this style came out super pretty. And as you all probably saw in the title, I decided I'm going to name this New School Press and Curl. Because, you know, a lot of people have an idea that you can't really achieve pretty curls without the use of Marcel irons. I don't use Marcel irons in my hair practice because I feel as though the electric flat irons are less abrasive. I'm not saying they can't damage the hair. I just feel that Marcels are extra heat, you know. And so when it comes to using them on extensions, you know, I wouldn't really care. But when it comes to using heat on real hair, I try to accomplish my results with the least amount of heat as possible, regardless of how much you all may see. Like in this video, you may see some smoke when I'm blow drying. A lot of the times it has to do with the product, because even my blow dry technique, if you're in the Sit and Pretty Academy and you've taken my blow dry 101 class, then you know it's a very low heat technique. And so I personally just like to go with things that I feel like utilize less heat, and that's why I don't utilize the Marcel irons. But you know, I feel like a lot of people feel as though you can't achieve pretty bouncy voluminous hair apart from the Marcel irons, and I just don't agree with that. I think what I believe, and from my experience and what I've seen over these years doing hair and offering heat styling services, is that it really comes down to how you care for the hair. Preparation, treatments, various things like that, of how well the hair will hold a curl. I feel like when it comes to the Marcel irons, a lot of people like them because regardless of the state of your hair, those irons are going to get your hair straight. They're going to get the curl to hold, whatever. They're going to get you there by any means necessary, which is the opposite of my approach. I like to train the hair to get to where we want it to go, because that's how I avoid the bonds in the hair breaking down for those who don't want the bonds in their hair breaking down. They don't want there to be any alteration in their curl pattern or the integrity of their hair. So there's some backstory on that, and as well as the reason that I entitled the video as such. But I also had an idea while I was editing this video, just adding some conversation to it. I'm not sure at what point I will upload this other video that I'm gonna upload, just kind of a more personal life update video that I wanted to share with you all. But I will say this, I, upon relocating to Vegas, entered into a industry that is completely foreign to me, just so I could set myself up to make this move smoother, you know, and transition faster into settling back into my lifestyle here. And so one thing that I noticed about this industry that I spent a short amount of time in is there was a lot of emphasis placed on the naivete or the sloppiness among the newer people who were entering the industry. A lot of the times you heard a lot of these complaints from people who had been in for long, but you also saw a lot of unwillingness to teach. You know, there was also a mentality of, well, nobody taught me, you need to figure it out yourself, right? And so hear me out, y'all. I know you're like, okay, what are you talking about? I was kind of thinking, like, as far as my content goes, you all may notice I'm less vocal on YouTube and I'm less vocal on Instagram. If you all been following me for all of these years, I mean the last 10 years, y'all know I was big on writing my long captions on Instagram, big on voiceovers, big on the educating, big on the long stories, even when it was not popular. And for a long time, this separated Sit and Pretty from a lot of the other things that were going on in the textured hair space. As I've kind of taken time away just to pour back into myself, because I poured so much of myself into this industry, just, doing much needed maintenance and self-care. As I've been returning, I kind of look out there and I'm like, well, what really sets my brand apart now that everyone is doing what I've been doing for years? I'm being honest with you. Because on top of what I used to set myself apart for so long becoming kind of like the norm, you also have a mass influx into the industry of baby stylists. When I say baby stylists, this also translates to baby estheticians, baby nail techs. I don't care if you're 40 years old. If you're new into the beauty industry, especially on a professional tip, I don't mean doing hair from home or doing hair for your family or anything like that. I consider you a baby stylist or a newer beauty professional, right? And so I kind of thought about it today. I'm like, it's time for me to give the youngins their space to grow. I've left a lasting impact in my sphere that social media numbers don't matter to me. In real life, I've really left a lasting impact and people know who I am and what I do. I just feel like I've expressed this to y'all before. It's really time for me to get into position to help other people, right? Because another thing we see online all the time these days is this whole new school stylist versus old school stylist. I can't believe people are still arguing about this. 3 years ago when we were on here talking about it, okay, complaining about new hairstyles, okay. 5 years ago when I was talking about it, the fact that people are still talking about it is just like, oh my goodness, people know how to beat a dead horse, right? But so as I kind of looked at the industry I was in passing, and I saw like the constant complaining from the so-called OGs, about those who were new in the industry, it kind of reminded me about the hair industry. I feel like a lot of women especially don't know when to give it up. A lot of women don't know how to move on. This is no shade, but even recent celebrity news, we see old school girls, and I'm going to just say girls, okay? I'm going to keep it cute for this channel. We see new relationships developing and new babies being had by girls who it's like, girl, you from the 2010s, girl. You still out here. Let these young girls do their thing. You see what I'm saying? I feel the same way about older stylists. There's this constant beating up of the new generation of stylists, but it's like, who's there teaching? I learned some things from some old school stylists, but I could also name to you all several old school stylists who hated on me along the way, who didn't make it easier for me, who didn't have a willingness to teach. All they had was, a willingness and a desire to set up traps to try to hinder my growth because they saw the greatness within me. And so, although I'm young and probably younger than people entering into this industry right now, at the end of the day, I'm going on 12 years behind the chair, from the kitchen to the real technician, in the salon. I'm going on 12 years this year. And it's time for me to pour in. We see a lot of the discrepancies and we see a lot of the confusion and the sloppiness because you had a lot of old school stylists who, for one, we got to stop we have to stop acting like it wasn't the old school stylist who got most of Gen X's edges non-existent. Come on, y'all. Old school stylists, y'all wasn't all that. That was y'all definitely filling up the salons, keeping people trapped up in there, double, triple, quadrupling booking. Let's stop acting like old school stylists was all that. That's an example of people have, that false perception of nostalgia, right? They feel like things were better than they really were. Come on, y'all. Come on. Everything was not all peaches and cream with the old school stylists. Let's be real. But also, when you have this whole issue in the industry where cosmetology schools only teach you so much, it's like information overload in a shorter period of time that you're there, especially as a cosmetologist, right? A jack of all trades and a master of none. Some of y'all, in this new era, were smart enough to not just be cosmetologists. You honed in on what you really wanted to do. So you went to a manicurist school, nail school, where you can immerse yourself in the nail experience to the fullest extent rather than just spending 2 weeks. Some of y'all didn't just go to cosmetology school and get your little hair thing. You went to hairdressing school so you can fully immerse yourself in here. You didn't just go to cosmetology school and get your little 2-week aesthetics thing. You actually went to aesthetics school. And some of y'all in certain states like Nevada, you got your advanced aesthetics license, right? So you're fully immersed in your craft, which I love, specialization. But let's not act like the schools fully set you up for the complexities of the professional aspect of the industry, right? And so I said all that to say, when you have this whole culture of women in older school stylists not knowing when to throw in the towel, it's not to say you can't still be doing hair, but at some point, it's time to be a mentor. It's time to grow up. Stop trying to compete with the new girls out there and put yourself in a position to empower and pass the torch on to the next, through education, through enlightenment. I feel this way about a lot of industries. A lot of women don't know when to become, just the OG, be the OG. And not the OG who's still out here trying to compete with the young girls, but you're sitting in the corner and you're allowing other people to win. I've had my season behind the chair, and now I'm having my season as an educator, and that's okay. So when y'all see me a little bit more quiet, it's because I'm like, I think I've reached that point, and I've kind of shared that with you all. I don't have to be, going hard to push my views and my philosophies anymore, because I made my mark and I said what I had to say. And now for me, it's important that for the integrity and the progression of my industry, I want to make sure that other girls are on point. I'm not about to sit back and complain about what they're doing when nobody's really giving them the full rundown on how things should be going. And so with that, I just wanted to kind of state that I feel like the title is fitting for the subject matter. Y'all can definitely be sure to join me on Sitting Pretty Pro, where I'm going to go further in depth on the business aspect of the beauty industry, and here on the main Sitting Pretty channel, where we're going to be diving into all things beauty education. And I just want to say, y'all, make sure you book me while I'm still behind that chair, because as I'm here, I'm still working on other things, so where of course my touch will be felt, but it'll be felt through other hands. Okay, so if you want to sit in my chair, make sure that you click the link in my description box, or just visit www.sittingpretty.com/join-me to be considered. Okay, I would love to have you. Let me know what you all think about this conversation as well as this hairstyle in the comment section down below, and I am looking forward to hearing from you all. Thanks for watching.